Hey guys, it's Sarah and welcome to Vlogmas Day 2. So today's video is going to be a 1 month 1 palette update for December. So I'm going to be wrapping things up with my November palette, which was the Urban Decay Naked Reloaded palette. So I'm going to share some before and after progress photos on this and some of the looks that I created with it, and then I will be introducing the palette that I'm going to be focusing on in December. So Naked Reloaded was pretty much a brand new palette when I started out the month. I had only used it like a couple times before then. So I will go ahead and insert some progress photos of this now, so you can kind of see what it looks like now versus at the start of the month. Didn't hit any new pans. I wasn't expecting to. This was, like I said, this was a brand new palette. And I've heard that Urban Decay shadows take a while to hit pan on, but you will see that there is a lot more wear on several of these shades than there was at the beginning. My goal was to use each shade 5 times, and I did meet that goal on all of them. Several of them I used 10 times, and then there was one that I actually used 13 times. That was the shade Blur here, which is this very light beige color. This one I use as a transition shade or to just kind of blend things out. So very useful shade for me. That's why that one was my most used shade, just because it pretty much goes with every look. The shades that I used 10 times were Bribe, which is this light cream color, Barely Baked, which is the gold, Retro, the matte peach, and Bucked, which is kind of this medium neutral brown. So those were the most used shades for me. So overall, after using this palette a bunch over the last month, I was definitely able to kind of solidify my opinion on it, and I did share kind of my full review of it in my last speed reviews video, so if you want to hear more kind of an in-depth review of this, I'll link that down below. But as you can see, it's definitely a very neutral palette. I look at this as kind of just an everyday basic staple neutral palette. I really enjoy the palette overall. There's one shade in here that I don't like at all, which is the shade Dreamweaver. That was the one that I struggled to use 5 times. That one is just very dry and patchy. I'll show a picture now. It's a really bad quality picture anyway, but I did try to do a smoky eye with that shade all over my lid. It looks like it would be a great kind of sultry smoky eye color for all over the lid, but it really just went on very patchy, and it took me forever to even build it up to look the way that it looks in that picture. So that was really disappointing. That one I kind of ended up just using like as a lower liner or to sort of deepen up the outer corner, but it hardly even shows up that way. So that shade is definitely a dud. I feel like that's the kind of quality I expect from like a $5 CoverGirl palette. Like I feel like I've experienced that same kind of shadow in a CoverGirl palette before. So I was a little annoyed at that shade, but all the other shades I really like. My favorite shade, I would have to say my favorite shade in here is Retro, this peach color. The first look I did this month might have been one of my favorite ways to use this palette, and it was just a very retro, soft glam eye look, and I used the shade Retro in my crease. I love a matte peach in the crease of any kind of like neutral smoky eye. I think it just, I don't know, it just adds something interesting to it, and I feel like it just complements so many of these shades, so I love that they included that. I also really like these 2 shimmery bronze colors all over the lid. Today I'm wearing Burn all over my lid. It's this kind of bronzy brown shimmer. I never really used to do like a brown smoky eye all over my lid, but this shade really got me into doing that. So I feel like a lot of the looks that I did this month came out very similar, which I think is kind of to be expected with such a neutral palette. Not a ton of variety. I feel like I don't even feel the need to share every single look that I did because a lot of them turned out very similar, but I will go ahead and just highlight a few of my favorite ones. Another one of the looks that I did was with the e.l.f. Glitter Liquid Eyeshadow in Mermaid Shimmy that I recently rolled into my project pan, so that's like a seafoam green. So I used that shade all over my lid, and then I just kind of used some of the matte browns in here in my crease and my outer corner. Very simple look, but that is one way that I paired this with that eyeshadow. There was another look that I actually posted on my IGTV on Instagram where I used Retro all over the lid. That's the matte peach color. That was a really simple look. I just put that all over my lid, blended it up into the crease, and then I used the matte brown in here, Endgame, as like a smoky winged liner. That is one of my favorite ways to use a matte peach eyeshadow. And then I think I threw the gold Barely Baked in my inner corner. So those are just a few of my favorite looks that I did with Naked Reloaded throughout the month. I really did enjoy having this as my 1 month 1 palette. I'm glad that I got a chance to really focus on it. And since I'd hardly used it, it was a great way to kind of get myself acquainted with this palette and the formula. Certainly not the most interesting color story ever. I mean, it is just a very basic neutral palette, but I enjoyed playing with it and I am now excited to move on to something else for December. And I have already gone ahead and decided what my December palette is going to be. I kind of already had this one in mind for December because it's I feel like a very holiday appropriate palette. And it's actually another one of my Urban Decay palettes. I've decided to go for the Urban Decay Stone Vibes palette for December. The reason I picked this one is because this one is full of these just beautiful sparkly foiled shades that I think are just going to be perfect for the holidays and for New Year's. Also, because this is my current favorite palette. I love this palette so much, but I feel like I haven't been giving this enough love and attention recently just because I've been focusing on other palettes in my 1 month 1 palette series, and I'm just itching to get some more use out of this, so I think that this will be the perfect way to do that. I'm excited to see how many looks I can come up with this palette and basically just cover my eyelids in glitter for all of December, because why wouldn't I want to do that? So that's going to be my December palette. I do try not to have 2 of the same brand back to back, but I'm dying to use this palette some more, so I felt like I would make an exception for that one. So that concludes this 1 month 1 palette update. This has been such a fun series. I've been doing it for the last like 4 or 5 months, and I definitely plan on continuing this series into the new year. It's been a great way for me to really just get some more use out of each of my palettes, get to know each of my palettes better, make some more progress on all of them. So I'll also link my previous 1 month 1 palette videos down below if you'd like to see more of this kind of video. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to talk to you again soon, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow in my next video.